Hi folks, Puffin here with your Antifa News Briefa for April 29th, 2022. Rand Paul just admitted he's a Russian agent. Of course, this isn't news to most of us. We knew this for a long time. But he came right out on live TV questioning Secretary Blinken, saying, aren't Ukraine and Georgia and some other countries part of Russia? Which is, of course, exactly what Putin's propaganda is. When these guys do the 100% Putin propaganda, which is all the time. They're always pushing Putin propaganda. But when you've heard the exact same propaganda directly from Putin, it makes it really clear. It puts Putin's fingerprint on it. Basically, Putin writes all their words, but all Republicans besides, 4 or 5 politicians are Trump Putineers right now, meaning Putin puppets. Rand Paul admitted it in this case, but even some Democrats. We knew this about Tulsi Gabbard just because the way she was running her elections and stuff. But when she made a video recently, I had to make a video response because she's pushing complete Putin propaganda about Ukraine elections, things like that. And Putin's the one behind the propaganda about the U.S. elections. People like to say, Trump Putineers like to say, that Trump kept Putin out of Ukraine because he invaded Crimea before Trump's presidency and didn't further invade Ukraine during Trump's presidency. Well, he was busy invading USA for one thing, but he was weakening U.S. support for Ukraine and weakening Ukraine through Trump, his puppet, all through the Trump years. And now it's kind of like a trap that they've fallen in because there's no logical way. It's like the logic of that they try to present as logic collapses on them from both sides. So, for instance, either the same people who want to build a wall to keep Mexico and America separate. Now, if they believe, as Rand Paul has stated, and others are likely to state, Putin's propaganda that Putin should be able to invade countries that used to be part of the USSR, then on that principle, Mexico should be able to invade, with the Western U.S. at least, because it used to be part of Mexico. Now, if Mexico did that and were killing a bunch of Spanish-speaking people while they did it, invading the USA, these Trump Putineers wouldn't be cheering them on, but they're cheering on Russia doing that in Ukraine, more or less. They're cheering it on to different degrees, depending on what position they're in. And we can tell it's wrong. Of course, war itself is wrong. Another thing they try to say is, well, what about the USA and Afghanistan? What about various U.S. wars? Well, maybe they were wrong too. Maybe now we can finally see how wrong all war is and get rid of all of it. Hashtag pillow revolution. Nonviolent revolution. We can do it from bed, where we overthrow these powers that are going to keep holding us back in war. Now, at least it traps them. At least it traps every bit of their mentality, so we know this mentality, Putin saying there are no gay people in Russia, being anti-gay, being anti-goodness, being anti-the future, being anti-green energy, being anti-windmills, all of that stuff. There's so much wind here today. All of that stuff is part of the same package, and it's a Putin package, and it's been pushed through our social media. So a lot of our social media barons are guilty as well. Facebook, Twitter, YouTube to too great of an extent, but especially Facebook and Twitter. And these need to be held account and changed as soon as we can start actually having free speech and actual good leftist true ideas are given the same ability to spread that right-wing hate speech is promoted by Twitter and things like that, and always has been. They admitted it recently. As soon as we can do that, we can save the world. So let's go ahead and do it. Let's go ahead and get real democracy, real free speech. Hashtag Church of Judas. Jesus predicted real democracy and an end of war thousands of years ago. Now, he predicted what happened about now. So it's about time we do it. War is obsolete. It's a big trap. And the more we show how bad it is, the easier it will be to go away. Now, all these people believing this stuff got trapped. They got trapped by Putin. But Putin himself is, throwing them overboard, throwing them under the bus, and admitting, like, hey, if you keep sending weapons to Ukraine, we'll rig your elections again like we did in 2016 when we gave you Trump. So it's collapsing. And let's just minimize the damage of this tyrannical structure as it falls down. Again, pillow revolution. Let's do it softly. Let's do it with kindness and love. But let's stop the war and hate. And when I say that about Mexico invading the USA and when they were killing other Mexican speaking people, that would seem wrong to people if they were doing that. I say that because someone in Ukraine said, we didn't really believe that Russia was going to invade because we speak the same language. Now, maybe people have always, in wars, have always or often spoke different languages on different sides of the war. And it is awkward to speak the same language on both sides of the war. But when you think about it, speaking a different language isn't a good reason to go to war either. And if people who did speak different languages found some way to communicate despite that, where they didn't go to war, we wouldn't need war at all. War would seem ridiculous no matter what language anyone spoke. But it does seem like, well, we weren't expecting war because we speak the same language. Well, that shouldn't be a reason to suspect war just because you speak different languages. Especially we have Google Translate now. Like, we can figure it out where all of our problems, we find a common solution that benefits everyone to these problems. This can actually be done. War is never that solution. So step one for everybody is we all stop war. We can repurpose militaries to green energy conversion and rescue squad for natural disasters that we're making worse by failing to do that already. So let's all work together. Let's go ahead and call out the evil where it is, root it out of our politics and leaders and media, and start again with good, fresh, green ideas. Thanks for watching and sharing. Love you forever. See you soon.